This is a serious story. This is just breaking right now. Homeland Security is reporting that 400 suspected terrorists are here in this country. They have come across the border. They are coming from parts of the Middle East. They are coming from Asia. And there is enormous trepidation about just exactly who these people are and where they are from. The New York Post has a story on this that just broke. Fox News as well. Federal agents say that 400 migrants have been smuggled into the U.S. by ISIS-affiliated network, with the whereabouts of 50 of these people unknown. Then they go on to say that they have tracked an additional 150. And I hate to break it to you all, but 150 plus 50 only gets you to 200. So what about the other 200 migrants that were smuggled into the U.S. by an ISIS-affiliated network, for goodness sakes? What are you trying to tell us here? I mean, we weren't kidding when we said shut down the border, and yet did Biden ever care about doing that? No, because from the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, from the beginning, let's go back to 2020 and that Democrat debate when he insisted that y'all come. In fact, I encourage you to stampede the border because you should come to America because we're all about hunky-dory. Let's bring them all in, ISIS, terrorists, and the rest of it. Let's go to the clip.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
Well, they came all right. Joe Biden, they came. They came. And now your own team doesn't know where they are. And they believe there are 400 people that were smuggled in by an ISIS-affiliated network. That tells me we got a little bit of a problem. Just a little. But, don't tell Mayorkas that. No, he's at Homeland Security. He thinks they're doing everything they need to do. They're doing all the screening and the vetting more than ever before. Yet somehow 400 slipped in. Let's watch.
In fact, in this administration, the different agencies and departments across the federal enterprise are working more cooperatively and more effectively and doing more robust screening and vetting than ever before.
I don't think anybody buys that. And by the way, if you're doing more now, if Joe Biden just decided to shut the border down now with this executive order, why didn't he do it earlier, before the 400 ISIS-sponsored people came into the country that now your FBI is all worried about? Like, why weren't you actually doing the groundwork from the beginning? Was it because of the census? Was it because you were hoping that you could get people grandfathered in and somehow find a path to citizenship and everybody would vote for you? By the way, go back to the top of the show. They're not voting for you. Hispanics aren't voting for you. Black Americans are not voting for you, Joe. So that didn't work out so well, nor did your whole let's print more money and give away more freebies. None of that worked for you because all you got was inflation. Sometimes I'm going to use a Kamala expression. You got to go back to the root cause of the problem, buddy. The root cause of the problem. Freebies, handouts, money printing, open borders, and there you go. Enough said, right? Look, this is why I'm just saying you got to take care of yourself. You got to plan for your future. None of this is going to end overnight. This inflation, I fundamentally believe, is here to stay. I'm just looking at one of her. Bobby, thank you for your contribution. He's wondering if I left Fox or they left me. It was kind of very mutual. Although I would suspect that I would have lived out my part of the bargain. I really would. I mean, I had kind of had it with them, but they had clearly had it with me because I had said too many things that you're not supposed to say on the air. But it's great because I get to say it here right now with you. Full transparency, right? I do think that Fox got very worried and very concerned in those scary days of March 2020. And I said something, which I stand by, which is that, you can't just panic. You can't have CNN treating it like the lost airline and just scaring the heck out of everybody every single day, because you know what? You do have to have a strong economy to fight this thing. Now, there's a lot I didn't know at the time too, but I will say this. My goal for president at the time and my goal for the country at the time was to have everybody stay calm and clear-headed, because we needed to protect the people that needed to be protected. And we needed everything else to be able to function in some capacity, to shut everything down, which is exactly what they did. In fact, when the market was tanking like 2,000 points, I mean, that's what really got me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now they're scaring the markets too, for goodness sakes. I bought that day. I bought. Every day it was going down, I bought. It's part of what I try to teach you guys to do, to be able to see through their rhetoric. What did I know? I knew that we were probably going to be fine. I knew that the Federal Reserve was there. I knew that Donald Trump was there. And hey, I knew, knowing him, he would welcome the chance to send checks in the mail with his signature on it. Here you go, courtesy of Donald Trump. I knew that was all going to happen. I knew that we'd run the risk of greater inflation, which I've warned about repeatedly. There's some, I guess, kind of gravitas that you get after a while of having been on the front lines of pretty much every financial disaster over the last, how many years? I mean, I've been covering markets since the year 2000, 1999, actually, really, because that was my first position at Goldman Sachs. And so you fast forward, and I've got like 26 years of seeing this stuff over and over and over again. With the tech bubble, for example, I remember long-term capital. I remember, Russia, all these things that were happening in the late 90s, then going into the year 2000 with the tech bubble, and then living through Lehman Brothers and the 2008 crisis. You see it all. And then, of course, COVID. And I think after a certain amount of time, you're able to, especially having been a reporter that was reporting on the front lines daily, I see what is going to make the news cycle. And I think in that particular time in March 2020, I was really angry. I was angry that everybody was buying into this. I was angry that the president was going to buy into this, because what did I predict at the time? That they were going to politicize this. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. Kamala Harris was out saying, I'm not going to take the vaccine if it's a Trump vaccine. Maxine Waters said the exact same thing. They were politicizing it like nobody's business, all while the governor of New York, Cuomo, was standing up there giving daily press conferences, so enamored with himself and the media attention, and going on his brother's show and holding up Q-tips and the whole 9 yards, while simultaneously sending people infected with COVID into nursing homes and then infecting those elderly people. I mean, like, no one had any clue what they were doing, but God forbid you try and call it out. And you got a bunch of scaredy cats over there at Fox that were not willing to stand by anybody that is or was controversial. Look what happened to Tucker. Look what happened to Steve Hilton. Look at what happened to my good friend Lou Dobbs. I mean, there's just a lot of changeover that's happened, but it's all for the better. Frankly, I look at anybody at a network right now and I'm like, why are you there? What a pain in the neck to have to be at a network. What a pain to have somebody controlling and micromanaging your scripts every day. You can say this, but you can't say that. Controlling who you have on the show for guests. Oh, we're not going to allow Trump on this week. Nope. He's doing that debate over on CNN. So we're angry at him. So we're not going to allow. I mean, this is the kind of crazy stuff, honestly, guys, that goes on. And so having this outlet has been such a tremendous thing and so rewarding for me personally, professionally. When I talk about the markets and I talk about 76 Research, we'll put it up there on the screen again. I'm not kidding. I mean, this is done for you. I mean that. I mean, I saw what happened and how panicked people were. And the people that took their money out of the market on that day when we were going down 2,000, that was not the right move. And so having seen all that I've seen, Rob too, I mean, he's been a stock picker for 25 years. So he knows when there's opportunities. And, also you got to kind of have a feel for these things. And I said, we've got to do more for my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful viewers whom I love. And so many of you, you're like, oh, Trish, I remember you from CNBC, or I remember you from Bloomberg, or I remember you from the first day you were ever on Fox. So thank you. And the people that have been here on this channel, thank you, because there were days when the audio equipment wasn't working. Hey, we still have those days. Well, I'm not gonna oversell any of this, but when it comes to financial research, I got you covered. Rob has you covered. I started this company with him. He's a longtime, very dear friend, because I said, I need to give back in some way. So it's just $1. It's just $1 to get the 76 report. It's another $23 to get the model portfolios. We just thought, can we reinvent this industry? Because too many people on Wall Street, they're paying tens of thousands of dollars for a similar product. And that's fine, but people don't have tens of thousands of dollars. If you have tens of thousands of dollars, I want you investing that tens of thousands of dollars, okay? That's the deal. You got to invest it. And I don't want you spending a fortune on research, but you probably don't have that kind of money to spend on research. And so what ultimately happens is those that have the money are getting the best research. And then those people at the top of the food chain, right, are filtering it down, and maybe the broker that you're dealing with in the local office is giving you some semblance of something, but it's already been chewed up and spit out by the time it gets to him or her. And by the time you get it, you're not getting really pure, authentic, unbiased research. They're telling you to buy what they want you to buy. And so this was my goal here. So we have the American Resilience portfolio, which is a growth-oriented portfolio, X NVIDIA, because you know what you're going to get NVIDIA if you're in the S&P. But take a look at that. There's also an income builder portfolio. So if you're someone who wants to make sure that you're protecting what you have while also getting a little bit of income in retirement, that's a great portfolio for you. And there's an inflation protection portfolio, because I'm obsessed with that, right? Like, how do I protect against inflation? That's why I talk about gold all the time, but there's a lot more ideas. So it's, gold is a wonderful way to play it, but there's additional 10 to 15 stocks that we like in addition to gold. So check that out. Again, go to 76reports.com. That's actually where you can put in the dollar code, or 76research.com, where you can look at the model portfolios. You can buy the report. And I'm telling you, just type in that code word dollar. So you get it for just $1 for the first couple of months, and start putting yourself first, really and truly. It's what I want you to do, and it's what I need you to do in light of the insanity and craziness going on around us.